Hello everyone! Today we are diving into one of the most chilling and controversial mysteries of the modern paranormal world, the Dybbuk Box. Some call it the most haunted object in existence, while others believe it to be nothing more than clever storytelling and superstition. But one thing is certain, the Dybbuk Box has a terrifying reputation, one that has spread far beyond folklore into real life accounts of fear, illness, and unexplainable misfortune. To begin, we must first understand the origins of the Dybbuk itself. In Jewish folklore, a Dybbuk is believed to be a restless, malevolent spirit. Unlike ghosts that merely linger, a Dybbuk actively seeks out a living host to possess, clinging to them until it is forced to leave, usually through ritual exorcism. The name itself means to cling or to attach. These spirits are often described as lost souls, denied peace in the afterlife due to unresolved sins, tragedies, or violent deaths. The idea of trapping such an entity inside an object is both fascinating and terrifying, and it is this very concept that gave rise to the story of the Dybbuk Box. The tale of the Dybbuk Box as we know it began in the early 2000s, when an antique wine cabinet was listed on eBay by a man named Kevin Mannies. Mannies claimed that the box had originally belonged to a Holocaust survivor who warned him that the box contained a Dybbuk. According to the story, the survivor's family had attempted to seal the spirit inside to prevent it from causing harm. When Mannies came into possession of the box, strange and frightening events began to unfold. He reported experiencing horrific nightmares, seeing shadowy figures, and feeling overwhelming dread in his home. Visitors complained of sudden feelings of nausea and anxiety. Electronics malfunctioned, lights flickered, and strange smells filled the air. Mannies eventually passed the box to others, and with each new owner, disturbing experiences were reported. Hair began to fall out inexplicably, illnesses spread, and relationships broke apart. The story spread quickly online, fueled by the growing popularity of paranormal forums and communities. The Dybbuk Box was eventually sold to another buyer, then passed along again, until it came into the hands of Jason Haxton, a museum curator. Haxton reported that he too experienced disturbing events, including unexplained health issues and terrifying visions. Despite his attempts to study the box scientifically, he admitted that he came to believe in its dark power. The legend of the Dybbuk Box exploded into pop culture after being featured on the television show Paranormal Witness and inspiring the 2012 horror film The Possession. What began as an obscure online listing had now become a worldwide phenomenon, with millions fascinated by the cursed cabinet and its chilling history. Skeptics, of course, argue that the Dybbuk Box is nothing more than a hoax. They suggest that Kevin Mannies fabricated the story, blending Jewish folklore with horror elements to create a modern myth. The rise of the internet made it easy for such a tale to spread, and the box itself became a piece of viral storytelling. To skeptics, the strange illnesses, nightmares, and electronic disturbances can be explained by coincidence, suggestion, and fear. But those who believe in the Dybbuk Box insist that the experiences are too numerous and consistent to dismiss. Paranormal investigators who have visited the box, now housed in Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum in Las Vegas, claim to have felt oppressive energy, suffered sudden illnesses, and experienced unexplainable phenomena. Visitors often refuse to even look at it, convinced that even glancing at the cursed object can bring misfortune. The box itself is small, wooden, and unassuming, about the size of a portable wine cabinet. It bears no frightening markings, no obvious sign of its sinister reputation. And yet, the idea that such a vessel could hold something as dangerous as a Dybbuk is enough to stir fear in even the bravest hearts. Could it be possible that spirits can be trapped in objects? And if so, what does that say about the world beyond our own? The Dybbuk Box also raises questions about belief and fear. Is it possible that the power of the box lies not in what it actually is, but in what people believe it to be? Psychologists argue that fear and suggestion can trigger real physical symptoms, from headaches to nausea to hallucinations. Could the Dybbuk Box be an experiment in the terrifying power of the human mind? Or is there truly something darker sealed within its wooden doors, waiting to be released? What makes the Dybbuk Box story so powerful is the way it blends history, folklore, personal testimony, and cultural fascination. It is not simply an artifact, but a mirror that reflects our deepest fears about death, the afterlife, and forces we cannot control. Whether cursed object or elaborate hoax, the Dybbuk Box remains one of the most compelling mysteries of our time. The Dybbuk Box is more than just a story. It is a case study in how legend, fear, and folklore can take on a life of their own. To understand its power, we must look deeper into the experiences of those who came into contact with it. After Kevin Mannies first shared his account, Jason Haxton, the museum director who eventually acquired the box, reported an almost identical chain of events. He claimed he developed mysterious health problems after bringing the Dybbuk Box into his home. His skin broke out in hives, he experienced coughing fits, and even suffered bleeding from his eyes at times. He later wrote a book about his experiences, attempting to balance skepticism with his personal fear. Haxton even admitted that despite his background in science, he began to believe the Dybbuk Box contained a dark spiritual force. Paranormal investigators were quick to take interest. Teams who examined the box often reported technical malfunctions in their equipment, sudden drops in temperature, and overwhelming feelings of dread. Some even refused to continue their investigations, believing the risk was too high. Stories circulated of cameras failing to capture the box, batteries draining instantly, and investigators falling ill within hours of leaving the museum. As the legend spread, the Dybbuk Box became a staple in paranormal culture. Its reputation was cemented when Zak Bagans, host of Ghost Adventures, acquired the box and placed it in his haunted museum in Las Vegas. Bagans himself reported strange activity surrounding the box, including visitors fainting in its presence and staff refusing to enter the room where it was kept. Celebrities such as Post Malone, who reportedly visited the box with Bagans, later claimed to experience a string of terrifying accidents and misfortunes. But for all the supernatural claims, there is an equally strong camp of skeptics. Critics argue that the Dybbuk Box is an elaborate hoax designed to prey on fear and superstition. They point out that Kevin Mannies, the original eBay seller, is a writer with a background in creating stories. Some researchers have found inconsistencies in his account, suggesting he may have invented the legend to enhance the box's allure. Skeptics also argue that many of the symptoms described, such as nausea, dizziness, and anxiety, can be attributed to psychological suggestion. The idea of cursed objects is not unique to the Dybbuk Box. Throughout history, humans have passed down stories of items imbued with supernatural power, whether protective or dangerous. From the Hope Diamond to Egyptian tomb artifacts, people have long believed that objects can carry the energy of their past. The Dybbuk Box fits neatly into this tradition, but its modern origins make it especially fascinating. Unlike ancient relics, this object's legend was born in the internet age, where stories can spread globally in an instant. One of the most compelling aspects of the Dybbuk Box is how it blurs the line between belief and reality. For those who believe in its curse, every misfortune is proof of its power. For those who doubt, every claim is just another example of the placebo effect and the influence of fear. And yet, the box continues to draw attention from all sides, because the possibility that it might be real is too terrifying to dismiss outright. Another layer of intrigue comes from the cultural background of the Dybbuk itself. In Jewish folklore, the Dybbuk is not just any spirit. It is a malicious entity seeking to attach itself to the living. This idea resonates deeply with our universal fear of possession and the loss of control. The Dybbuk Box, whether real or not, taps into this fear perfectly. The thought that an object could house such a spirit and unleash it on the unsuspecting is enough to unsettle even skeptics. The box's story has been retold in countless articles, podcasts, and even films. The 2012 movie, The Possession, was directly inspired by it, bringing the legend to mainstream audiences. While the film dramatized many elements, it ensured that the Dybbuk Box became a household name for horror enthusiasts. In many ways, this pop culture exposure gave the object even more power, as millions of people around the world became emotionally invested in its story. So where does the truth lie? Is the Dybbuk Box genuinely cursed, or is it a carefully constructed myth? Perhaps it is both. A real box with a fabricated legend that became powerful through the belief of those who encountered it. After all, fear itself can be destructive, and the human mind is capable of producing physical symptoms under stress. Yet, there remains the possibility that the Dybbuk Box is exactly what its story claims: a prison for something dark, ancient, and restless. If so, then every strange illness, every misfortune, and every shadow seen in its presence may not be coincidence, but evidence of a haunting unlike any other. As it sits today in Zak Bagans' Haunted Museum, the Dybbuk Box continues to attract both believers and skeptics. It is surrounded by warning signs, and those who choose to view it often leave shaken. Whether one sees it as an elaborate hoax, a psychological experiment, or a genuine vessel of the paranormal, its impact cannot be denied. The Dybbuk Box has transcended its physical form. It has become a modern legend, one that reveals as much about our fascination with the unknown as it does about the object itself. In it, we see the perfect storm of history, fear, folklore, and belief. And whether cursed or not, the Dybbuk Box will likely continue to haunt our imaginations for generations to come.